Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. I hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Alrighty, guys. So we just had Nvidia earnings right after the close there. There was nothing spectacular about them. Market didn't pump off them. I'm going to say right now, we're going to talk about how we're going to be treating Nvidia. I have a scenario here, which I'm thinking if we get it, it's a high probability setup. We're going to be taking. We're going to be talking about that in this video. We're going to quickly go over the indices. We'll go over some levels. Go over what to be expecting in the short term. We'll go over the Mag 7 stocks, Nvidia. And I got a few stocks that are standing out to me that you can put on your radar. Those will be at the end of the video. All right, guys. So we're moving down off of these earnings. I'm just going to say SPY made a new all-time high today. We just pushed up. You have this inverse head and shoulders pattern going on here. You actually had a little, you have a left shoulder ahead and a right shoulder right there. I know you're starting to get slammed down. All right. But at the end of the day, all right, this Nvidia dip over here, we are anticipating it gets bought. We're going to go over that first here, guys. Okay. If we see this thing have a big red bar here, it's going to look scary. We're going to anticipate that the following week, most of that decline gets bought up. Something just like that, just like that. All right, we have a few of them. Okay, but we are anticipating pretty quick that that dip will be bought. So just realize it's going to look scary, but the vast majority of the times when we get these scenarios here, all right, they get bought up pretty quick. All right, so something like this, we are looking for a move like that. That could be like a 5 to 10% move you're catching here on Nvidia if we get this opportunity. That's your bear case. Okay, so just realize that's what's about to happen if we are going to see this sell. All right, SPY QQ likely trade flat / slightly pull back. Nvidia does that. Nvidia gets bought following week after we get that big fat red candlestick. Maybe that's going to be this week. We'll see how it goes. You are gapping down as of right now, guys. All right, underneath the 21. So if we push up tomorrow, just expect that that's just a dead cat bounce. Expect that to be sold. And watch the 21 EMA around 177.5, 177 to 177.5. That's Nvidia. All right, and if that's going to be trading that way, like this is the bearish catalyst for the market right now. This is what's going to bring it up and down. All right, we know SPY just pushed up the highs here. I'm just setting the stage for if you see this to the 21 EMA, it's probably going to get bought, and that is what falls pretty quick. If we get it this week, maybe by next week. It's going to look scary if it comes, but that is what I'm pointing out ahead of time, okay? All right, let's go over some levels. We are anticipating that dip gets bought. I can't really tell you, what exactly is going to be happening in the short term. I'm going to tell you if you open up with the 15-minute RSI in oversold territory tomorrow, watch for the dead cat bounce around the open. That's that. 644, that's the area you really want to be holding here. You have the low right here. Guess what? It's right around the 4-hour 21 EMA, just like over here when I was pointing out, hey, you go either way right here. But, Bulls still got a shot. They still had a shot. They took it. They went straight back up to highs. And now we're pulling back to that 4-hour 21 EMA again. All right, so underneath there, which, the low we just set over here was 643.15. Underneath 643.15, all right, we have 641.57 and 639.66. Ideally 639.66 would hold. We have the 21 EMA that'll be right underneath there. Ideally that would hold. If not, Bulls got something else to worry about. There's that. But again, if Nvidia, if that's how that's going to trade, I'm telling you, that is the bear case here. All right, weekly RSI, you can look back what happens right when it gets overbought. All right, gets overbought and then pulls back. If it fails to make new highs over the next 4 weeks, that's the back test that I did. I shared that stat with you guys a few weeks back when we hit overbought territory and then started pulling back. If we failed to make new highs over those coming weeks there, all right, without, seeing a push there, then guess what? It's setting up for 4 to 8 weeks down the line. We'll be seeing this dip I speak of. And then within those 4 to 8 weeks, you get bought back up and you have a breakout. So that's why I have this drawn over here. Is how I think that's going to go. But if we see this first impulsive move down, expect that initial, this part of the sell right here. I'm not talking about getting through the highs. I'm talking about this over here. That gets bought. That's how that's going to be moving. I imagine that's probably how the indices are going to be acting as well. So just something to think about, something to just keep in the back of your head, you know, just know about it. That's how this is probably going to go down. But yeah, levels, SPY guys, 644.11, 643.15, 641.57, 639.66. Under there, bulls have more trouble. On the upside, 646.19, 647.36, 648, 650. That's SPY, QQQ. All right, guys, set up in a very similar manner. On the upside, 573.99, 575.57, 577.77, tongue twister, and 583.32. On the downside, 568.80. Underneath there, you're underneath that daily 21. All right, expect to move down to 566.49. Then you have 563.27, 558.84. Take that out, 551.68. That is quite a ways away. Do not expect that we're going to get down there by end of week. All right, and that is that, guys. You know, I'm just saying the world's not ending. It's not. All right, Amazon over here, stocks like this, they're not looking all that bad. Okay, I just point out Nvidia, that's the bear case. You get that move down, it gets bought up the following week, we'll be there to take advantage of it. That's easy money when it presents itself. You're above the weekly 21, we get that pullback there into previous all-time highs. It's clear as day a buying opportunity. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There you go. Just because they didn't excite the market today doesn't mean the market isn't going to appreciate that dip if it comes. All right, that is that. All right. Okay, and you know, on top of that, you have IWM looking like this. Does that look all that bad? I have a feeling IWM is probably going to continue pushing. Regardless, weekly candle does not close like this. I think it's going to expand. I think it's probably going to expand to the upside. You know, just with how this thing is moving, that is just looking like the most probable scenario, but I don't expect it to close like this. We're looking for further upside or a full-on reversal to the downside. Not sure which one we get, but I'm definitely leaning towards upside with how we're setting up here. You know, it's not looking bad at all. All right, and it happened to have held up throughout Nvidia earnings perfectly well. No harm done. No harm, no foul. DIA, all right, also no harm, no foul. SPY and QQ, they're really not all that bad. Okay, but I don't like that QQ is already again at the daily 21. We don't want to spend too much time dancing around right around the 21. We want to flip it, and then we want to carry on with our business. Okay, there you go. But that's not happening. But I am pointing out, you know, there are things that suggest we shouldn't really just immediately expect that we're going to go through this large correction again. No, guys, you know, this is going to be a short-lived dip here. It's going to be a one-week thing if it happens. I just told you, if Nvidia goes down and brings the market down with it, that's what's going to bring the market down. That's the negative catalyst right now. Then it probably is going to go right back up with it if Nvidia gets bought up the following week and retakes back most of the ground it just lost. You know, that's how that would go. QQ is going to fall. DIA, IWM, the other indices here, they don't look bad at all. Okay. So that is that, guys. Those are your levels. Those are, that's what we're looking for, guys. That is that. Okay. Now we're going to go over the Mag 7 stocks. I already went over expectations over here on Nvidia, but if you bounce tomorrow, watch for rejection off of the 21 EMA, 177 to 177.5. On the downside, we have 174.25. You're going to have this level right here at 170.89 and then 168.80. Underneath there, 164.58. Weekly 21 EMA is all the way down here at 156, just about. So, you know, we can... I'm not going to tell you where the floor over here is going to be, okay? I will tell you, if we get this, if you start really selling here, expect this thing, this weekly candle, or the next, whichever one's going to be that big sell week I'm talking about. If it comes, expect that you close at the lows and expect that the following week off the opening price, you're going to catch a bid. All right. And it might be violent. We'll see how it goes. But that is Nvidia. Tesla. All right. It's pulling back a bit. All right. It is pulling back a bit. I don't think they're going to kill this weekly candle. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think they're going to completely take it back down to the lows over here. I just don't think that's likely. I think we're probably going to see bulls stepping pretty quick on this dip. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I'll tell you, we did by default, if we gap down tomorrow, guess what? We're taking out the previous day's low. We're in this consolidation. We haven't started the impulsive move. So just realize, if you think you're late to Tesla's party over here, you're not. All right. I'm trying to tell you, the bigger move really didn't start yet. It didn't. All right. You started breaking out over here. Okay. But you see, you have 357.54, and then you have 367.71. 367.71. That's what's going to unlock a bigger move to 400 bucks. All right, you know, the larger move here, we're technically still in the range. Okay, we're starting to break here. We're definitely starting to break consolidation. You have a higher high here going on, a higher low into higher high. That's a change of character. But I'm telling you, that move really hasn't started yet. Once it does, you're going to have this gap up. All right, you're going to start it with these gaps, and you know, almost every day you're going to get a gap. All right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You didn't get 7, so you had 6 in a row. All right, so you know that's what we're going to be looking for. All of these, they're all gap ups. Okay, these, they were gap ups, except for that one. Regardless, we haven't had that. We haven't had any big days over here on Tesla. We had a 6% day on Friday. It started the fire. But yeah, you know, we're going to pull back here. We're watching 640. It's really 638 up to 642. But yeah, 640 to 642. That's where I'm thinking buyers will be stepping in over here on this pullback. 4 hour 21, right around. Did I just say 642? I meant 340 to 342. There you go on Tesla. Amazon, all right. I think it's just going to hold its own. I really do think the market's kind of just going to trade flat, and I think the dip is going to be short-lived. I don't think they're going to care all too much about what happened. I think this is going to be a nothing burger. Yeah, Amazon, guys, you know, it already dragged its way back up here. It looks bullish here. It looks like on the weekly over the coming weeks, we could just be back up at all-time highs. That's, you know, if the market falls off a cliff, this is going to take out the 21 EMA. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it makes more sense that we stay consolidating here in this range, maybe into end of week, and maybe by next week we're pushing back up. But again, we're watching, not Tesla, we're watching Nvidia for that move down. If we get it, you know, next week we probably go right back up. So I'm just watching for that. All right, nothing crazy, nothing crazy. Meta over here, guys, you're still just at previous all-time highs. If buyers are going to really, you know, step in here, I'm just letting you guys know it's going to be all in 1 week here. You get back up to highs whenever that happens. That's how this thing likes to trade. It starts going all at once. You know, so this is the spot where they would step in for that. You still have to take out 760. You got to get above 758.41. All right, 760. And then you could start moving up, okay? But that's the first step for the bulls there. Microsoft started catching a bid today, guys. We pointed out the 4 hour bullish divergence in the last video there. We also point out 509.44. That's where you really have to get above here. That's when the 4 hour cloud is going to flip bullish. That's when you probably are going to get, you know, this 5 to 10, 8 to 10 point move up to 518.29. All right, it's a 9 point move. Yeah, you're going to have the daily 21 EMA over here. So just realize, you know, this is one of the Mag 7 stocks that is underneath all moving averages right now. It's above the weekly 21. All right. So, you know, this pullback is a buying opportunity. This thing just kind of went straight up. But I do think we'll have a return to impulsive moves here, not this grindy crap we've had for a very long time. That is what this correction is actually going to bring back into the mix. Yeah, you know, I really would just say it's better just to wait for this cloud to flip back to green over here. Price is back above the 21, reclaims 518.29 there. That seems like a key spot. And then, you know, it probably is only a matter of time until you start this larger push back up to highs. I would personally just wait for that. That's my opinion on Microsoft, okay? I hope it helps. Apple over here, guys, I don't think it's going to matter what the market does. I think we are going to start trekking up 233 to 34 in the short term. I think it's on the table. Not really looking all that bad. And when Nvidia was falling today, guess what was pumping? Apple. They have that inverse correlation. It is active again. GOOG sitting right underneath the previous all-time highs here. Yeah, I think most probable scenarios we continue consolidating and then have this push up. I think 215 might be hit. Yeah, that's really all there is over here. Okay, things aren't looking all that bad if you have not noticed. Okay. All right, so I got a few ideas for you guys, a few things that I think are holding up well, a few things that are still set up in this market. No matter what the market's going to be doing, I think these things might be having their moves, but they're standing out to me. All right, AEO. I really like what's going on over here. You do have earnings next week, next Wednesday. But this thing looks like into the end of the week. I'm talking Lotto Friday, baby. Lotto Thursday into Friday, baby. Above 1355. You know, this thing might actually go for a ride, and it might you know, have like a point move there. And I didn't look at the premiums yet, but I'm pretty positive 829s are going to be dirt cheap there, the 13.5 strike. And yeah, a lot of Friday idea. There you go. There you go. 14C. Maybe it's like $1 right now, $2. I don't know what they're going for, but I'm just saying, borrow the money. I don't know what they're going for, but this is your Lotto Friday idea right here. AEO looks very clean. Inverse head and shoulders. You got a big old base, a little cup, a little handle, whatever you want to look at this as. It's bullish structure being built out, and you're about to start breaking out of it. It's looking beautiful. Weekly cloud just slipped back to green. Notice that you don't have any fake outs going on. You had one fake out. I hold my tongue, but guess what? That's in 2020 when the market had a freaking crash. Other than that, you got to go back quite some time, okay? And that is what brings these trending moves. I think we probably are starting that trending move back up. I think a nice target for this would be around this area. Previous high $17, okay? And guess what? Price is currently 13. Oh, what would that be? About a 50% increase. Nope, about a 30% increase. Math was wrong. There you go. SMR, guys, all right? I'm not talking right now. I'm talking, let me take out this low there. Let me put in a bullish divergence here in the daily RSI, and there we go. We're probably going to have a bottom in, and yeah, 10 to 20 to 30% move up falls after that. That's SMR. That's what I'm thinking is probably going to be the case. All right, I'm talking something like right over here. This is where you bounced on the daily RSI. You have this initial bounce. You come back down. You sweep the low there. Spend a few sessions there. And then off the low, you travel 30% over the next 2 weeks. I'm thinking something like that is on the table. All right, so we're going to just take off these. And what are we going to do? We're going to keep it real simple. Keep it simple, stupid. That's us. All right, we got to keep it simple. Sweep the low here, 30.62. Set the alert right there. All right, that's when we're going to start looking to get involved. I think this is probably going to be the case, but this looks like a common theme here. You go slightly underneath the low, and then boom, all of a sudden you have this few-day base there, few-day base right there, and then you start moving up off it. 20-30% move incoming. Oh, what happened? You came down here. Oh, you get slightly underneath the low. Okay, you want to see it, guys? This is time and time again on this ticker. Tickers have different personalities. This, I'm just showing you guys. I'm showcasing its personality here. This is how it likes to trade. This is how it's probably going to continue trading. Right there, okay? And what happened? Off the lows? Oh, a quick 40% move. All right, I don't know if I'm going to find another example because that's when this thing started trending, okay? But, you know, that's what happened the last 3 times, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like 3 times there. All right, you know, over here, you just hit the spot on the daily RSI. There was that. But I'm specifically referring to here, to here, to here. All right, and what followed in the short term, the next 2 weeks after that, sometimes within a few sessions, 30 to 40% move. So I'm thinking that's going to be the case. Maybe we come down here, 28, 29 bucks. Okay, and then yeah, 40%. We're talking up to 40 bucks because that could be a 10-point move regardless. It's a 5 to 10-point move that we could be taking advantage of. Looking forward to it. And yeah, that's it on SMR. Lemonade, guys, pulled back to the daily 21. It's not looking bad at all. All right, not looking bad at all. It's starting to find buyers off here. I'm having a feeling that this is not going to be moving exactly with the market here. I think it's going to be doing its own thing. That's what it wanted to do over here. This has its own setup here. Break and retest off previous high, 53.85. Probably going to get bought around here, at least in the short term. Looking for a little bounce back up to 56, 57 bucks. And that's lemonade. All right, if you lose today's low, lose the daily 21. 52.25. Let's just, you know, call it 52 bucks. Okay, get underneath 52 bucks. You risk coming back down to 47.25, and I would think that holds. Okay, and that's where buyers would step in. One or the other here. I'm thinking likely going to be here. All right, guys, sold yesterday, got bought up today. I'm just going to point out you got consolidation above your previous high here. You got a big old range going on, big old cup, big old handle. All right, it's a pattern that took 40 days, about a month and a half, guys. This is day number 3 of your breakout. I think this thing might, by end of week, start pushing, and we might see 43, 45. Maybe we get a big move. They close this with a small weekly candlestick. I'm going to be honest. You know, I do think that we're probably going to be pulling back. You got the weekly RSI overbought. I think we would probably see some action like that, and I do think it gets bought, but I do think it would cool off a little bit. So yeah, I think if it's going to be making this move, it might happen at the end of week, but this doesn't look all that bad. Break and retest, not bad at all. You know, I just know how the market's looking right now, and you know, this is a higher beta stock here. It's going to be, this is risk on stocks we're talking here. Okay, they're not going to be moving up if the market moves down. Just the vast majority of them, that's how they function. Okay, Nvidia earnings, guys, they talk a lot about robotics, eh? Well, SCRV had the heaviest volume in quite some time here. Let's just mark this out and let's just see. All right, all the way back over here. And that was the big minus 45% day. Boom. All right, or minus 40% move right there. And from there, outside of that, you have all the way over here. This is the largest volume day since, you know, your actual initial breakout right there, your initial move up. So this is definitely one to put back in your radar. Definitely one that looks like it's going to have this breakout above 1240 in the short term. And it pushes 1427. And then if it does do that, guys, yeah, this thing probably does have a larger push in it. It probably is getting back up to 18 bucks or so, 17, 18 in the short term. You know, gap resistance sitting right here, right at 1552, above there, 18 bucks. That's what you're going to be targeting. And that's really what we're looking over here. SERV, robotics were mentioned a lot on the Nvidia earnings call. APP, guys, dip equal buying opportunity. Consolidation equal buying opportunity. This thing breaks, well, 473.70, guys. We're looking for 500 plus in the short term. And then short term after that, 525.15 all-time highs is incoming. That's APP. Not looking bad at all. I think it makes sense for them to expand this weekly candlestick to the upside. Just my personal opinion. But yeah, you know, if it doesn't do it this week, I'm thinking 500 plus comes next week. That's APP. Hope you guys are making some money. All right. If you buy even 919, you gave it some time, guys. 919 calls over there on APP. Guess what? From when we start calling it out on this pullback over here, you hit we were up 85% today, but maybe you got a better entry than me. You were up 100%. I did not buy on this dip over here. I bought somewhere in here. Okay. And guess what? All right. Maybe you guys end up doing that. You're making some money. I'm just telling you, if you're up 100% right now, you could trim. Okay. You could sell if you want, but I'm telling you, I think this move in the short term, it's coming. This thing, it's not going to push up here just to sell all the way back down. No, expect this dip to be bought. It's going to be bought by next week. We take out 473.70. If it's not going to be this week, it happens next week. And we go a little crazy over here on APP. It's loading. All-time highs. I hope you guys are having a good time. GS over here, guys. This is one showing strength. It's looking pretty obvious over here, like this is going to continue pushing. But, you know, I'm just going to point out consolidation over here. It's probably going to be seen as a buying opportunity. And you get something like this. All right. I don't know if it's just going to continue chugging along. If the market pulls back, I just don't think it's going to continue chugging along right now. But it looks pretty beautiful here on the 4-hour. So it's a possibility that it just chugs along. I'm just pointing out, even if it does pull back, this is one to focus on here. This very likely is not going to take out this low here. It's just going to continue seeing these dips get bought here. So if you see them, you can take advantage of them. That's GS. Uber, guys, it is pulling back, but I do think this move is around the corner here. I do, and it might happen into end of week. I know it's looking a little rough, but you got this consolidation going on. This consolidation, just like this consolidation right over here. That's what we got here in Uber. It's just like that. All right. Same, just about the same amount of time. I think I pointed out in yesterday's video. That's now 8 days. This over here, I think, was 9 days. Nah, it's a little bit more. Yeah, 9 days. And then boom, the next session you started going. So that's like consolidating tomorrow. And then we really start having that day, the push up on Friday. And then all of a sudden you have a massive weekly candle here. We're all the way up at 100 bucks. And then next week we go 105, 110. There we go. Let's call it a party. All right. Rocky Lab. I'm watching on this pullback here, guys. All right. I'm watching this. I think this pullback is going to be bought. I think we're probably just going to kind of stay in this area right here, consolidate, and then start pushing up. I think it's like one of these guys over here. Now, here's the thing, guys. It's still in consolidation. It hasn't broken out yet. You already took out that previous high after having this dip. All right. So as of right now, you're trending lower. You're trending lower in a higher time frame. You're reverting to the mean. You got real close to the weekly 21 there. You know, you just had an aggressive move up on the higher time frame. On the smaller time frame, daily time frame, you're trending lower, continuous higher, lower highs, lower lows. You have this lower low from over here, this low of the range. You're holding, boom, capitulation, boom. false breakdown, recovers the range, gets to the top of the range, sweeps the high. But regardless, what's going on here is you're trendless as of right now on the daily chart. You're going down, you're going down. That's your change of character. This thing wants to move up. Expect this dip to be bought over here. Probably not going to break back underneath the 21 EMA. The 21 EMA is around 44 bucks. If you see it, it's probably going to get bought. Yeah, I do think we're just kind of doing this thing that Rocky Lab likes to do, where, yeah, you're going to consolidate the vast majority of the time and then get these impulsive moves. So I do think that is likely going to be the case. And potentially by the end of the week, we're pushing back up. But yeah, I would just say expect these dips to be bought. If you see 44, 44, 44.5, that could potentially be near the low of this. All right. And there you go. Regardless, you got bullish consolidation going on here. Expect it to be bought. Expect it to break up. Expect this thing to start moving up to 60 bucks. It's on the verge of doing the move. Could happen over the next few sessions. Okay. All right. That's what I have for you guys in today's video. I'm going to leave it at that just because, you know, we are in this market right now that, you know, we all saw in the video, didn't pump the market there. All right, sold a little bit. And I told you guys we have that potential bear scenario on the video there. And if that happens, I imagine the market is going to get pulled back there. SPY probably isn't going to violate the daily 21, but QQ will. It's going to look a little sloppy there. All right, but that's the bigger picture that we're looking for. Oxy over here, guys. Oil is not looking bad. You have... at least oil stocks are not looking bad. There you go. ZOM over here, you have this big trend line. If it breaks, it's probably gonna mean something. Okay, but at the same time, daily RSI is going to be overbought. So if it breaks, all right, I feel like we get a pullback, and that's what to pay attention to. I'm just pointing out ahead of time. It could be doing some crap like that. It could. All right, I'm not saying it can't. This thing, once it got into overbought territory, this thing just kept going like a rocket. Didn't really pull back there. But Oxy over here, this is the one that I think is worth focusing on. This is the one that weekly cloud finally just flipped green. All right, you're starting to push up, break from consolidation. Again, this is that change of character. You have all this consolidation. Guess what? You're starting to break up from it. You know, 47.33, that's that high you got to get over. Once you're over it, you know, I imagine you are going to start a larger move up here on Oxy. So something to put on your radar here, but end game here, 55. Maybe that is going to be tested over the coming months. I think it's going to be a slow mover, but this is something that probably will keep trending up once this move starts. So this is the start of that, and now it's on your radar, and have some fun, have a good time. There you go. You also got this trend line you could be paying attention to. You just broke it. All right. It could even be something like that, but you know, really, I would say, you know, something. It's something like that. Either way, you just broke it. So yeah, it's bullish things going on here on Oxy. All right, and that's what I have for you guys today. Cracker Barrel doesn't look all that bad on the weekly. I think this thing is going to break 63.61 and push 65 in the short term. So there's that. But yeah, not looking all that bad. SOFI pulling back into previous highs. I think that dip probably gets bought here. All right, I think we're so close to all-time highs. Like, I do think we're going to head up to all-time highs. I think we have a case like over here where every little dip that happens for a while is just going to be bought. You know, I know we just had this massive move here, but in reality, this was a larger move there. Yeah, they look about the same, honestly. Dollar-wise, this was the larger move, but you guys see what I'm saying. From the breakout. All right. But yeah, I think these dips are probably also going to keep getting bought. Just be open to consolidation here, but it's probably not going to violate the 21 EMA. So if you see the 21 EMA, that's where you could probably pull a quick 5 to 10% out of the stock. That's what I'm putting on your radar, okay? And that's SOFI. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please just remember to leave a like. That's all I ask for. It helps me reach the YouTube algorithm, which doesn't pick me up. So I would appreciate it. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos and the content I share for absolutely no cost to anyone. I just ask that you guys support with a like. I appreciate it. It would put a smile on my face. And yeah, if you guys want to come trade with me, I trade these tickers that we talk about. I'm live every day, and that link will be down below. But other than that, guys, please just remember to leave a like. And I hope everybody has a lovely rest of their day. And I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.